Yeah, we back. Now today's gonna be a quick video. Today's video is gonna be a follow-up video to one I dropped yesterday entitled "The King of Haiti's 1816 Celebration at the Famous Citadel." Now, in that video, in my usual fashion, I dug up some old documents that was left behind by the ancestors, an old newspaper article from the 17th of July, 1816, which described in great detail the festivities that occurred at the Citadel in celebration of the King of Haiti, King Henri Christophe. Now, as you already know, the Citadel, one of the craziest buildings ever erected in the history of humanity, on top of a mountain, 3,000 feet in the sky, over 100,000 square feet, with the walls 130 feet high and 30 feet thick, strong enough to house thousands of soldiers over a long period of time. And during that time, the Citadel was equivalent to the Pentagon under the regime of King Henri Christophe. So like I said, go watch that video first before you jump into this one. That one was a classic Neferkari, excellent content. The article went into great detail about the events, as well as two major speeches that were given by two high-ranking government officials that truly gave insight into the mentality and the sentiments of the ancestors. So if you are a student of history like myself, I think that you would most definitely enjoy that. Now, this video is going to be a continuation of that as well. We're going to go to a different article that came out on the 24th of August, 1816. Now, this is a very long article. It's actually a 4-part article, but I'm only going to be diving into a segment of it. But this series basically goes into great detail about the Queen of Haiti, the king's wife, her birthday celebration. Lavish birthday celebration that lasted multiple days, but I'm not going to go into that because that'll be a 2-hour long video. We can't go into the whole article, but I'm only going to go into one part that really interested me, that really went into the details about the dress, about the military in the Kingdom of Haiti, about the government officials. What were they wearing? And due to the fact that we have a certain technology available to us, like AI, things like that, I'm going to try to kind of reconstruct or bring to life the article, what it says in the article. What kind of garments did the ancestors have on? What type of clothes were they wearing? What were the military uniforms like? I'm going to try to bring it to life in this video. I'm going to try my best, right? So yeah, so today we're going to go to the 24th of August, 1816, the Royal Gazette of Haiti, the official state-owned publication of the government of King Henri Christophe, the official regime. Let's get into it, man. Now, in the video yesterday, I basically gave a quick recap of Christophe's life from his birth, how he came up, how he rose in status, how he came to power. I'm not going to do that in this video, so that's why I said watch the one from yesterday so you can be all caught up. Now, anyway, let's get into the article. Let's get into the segment where they go into the details about the dress and the garments of the ancestors. Let's get it. Take a look up on the screen. In this review, we admired the entire troops. The regularity and precision of their movements show how disciplined and trained they are in maneuvers. The beauty and richness of the uniforms, their superb standards, and their glittering weapons form the most beautiful sight. We believe we will please our readers who are not present at this review by giving them a detailed description of the uniforms and standards of the troops of the king's military household. Now, keep in mind, this article is writing about the Queen of Haiti, the king's wife, her birthday celebration. But this segment of the article is only talking about the dress and the garments and the attire, right? So, but the setting overall is currently there's a massive celebration, one of the most lavish celebrations in the history of the country for the king's wife, right? This celebration lasted multiple days. Now, anyway, let's continue. The grand uniform of the Royal Artillery is a long green coat with crimson lapels, facings and collar, red lining and piping, gold buttons with the coat of arms, yellow silk aiguillettes, green trousers with yellow soot braid, with the plate bearing the king's arms, yellow soot braid, yellow plume, and boots. The full uniform of the bodyguards is a white coat, long with crimson lapels, facings, collar, and piping, pink lining, gold buttons with the king's coat of arms. The coat's skirts across, braided with yellow silk on all seams, white breeches and waistcoat, boots, braided with yellow silk, with the plate with the king's coat of arms, braids in yellow silk cord, silk aiguillettes, and white plume. Now, if you take a look up on the screen, let's see how accurate I got it, right? Now, this is what would have been the Royal Artillery, right? Dark green coat with the cuffs and the collar, the red interior, the gold buttons, right? The crimson sash with the gold embroidery with the yellow silk aguilettes. So essentially, if we hopped in a time machine and went back to the year 1816, the Royal Artillery would have been posted up. This would have been a swag of the Royal Artillery, right? Don't get too close though. Like I said, man, you know, these the shooters right here, right? Don't get too close, but these would have been the ancestors posted up, you know, in their uniforms. Now, if you take a look up on the screen, these would have been, I believe they called them the bodyguards, right? So the bodyguards posted up, the white coat with the crimson cuffs, you know, the pink lining inside the coat, the gold buttons, the crimson silk sash with the yellow braid on the coat and the vest, the white trousers with the white boots, right? The yellow silk aguilettes, the white feathered plume hat. Now, these would have been the brothers right here that would have laid you down if you tried to get too close to the king, right? You try to run up on the king, you know, run up on the king sideways. These the brothers right here in the all white, you know, the all white silk with the plume hat. Yeah. If you try to get too close to Christophe, these brothers right here would have laid you down. Now, let's continue. The full uniform of the king's cavalry is a long sky blue coat, crimson collar, pink piping and lining, white lapels and facings, gold buttons with the king's coat of arms, yellow silk aguilettes, very sky blue trousers braided with yellow silk, sacco braided with the same, with the plate with the king's coat of arms, braids and yellow silk cord, sky blue plume, and hussar boots. Now take a look up on the screen. This would have been the king's cavalry, right? The sky blue coat, crimson collar with the gold buttons and the yellow silk, the sky blue trousers, the yellow silk braid, the yellow silk cords, etc., etc. As you can see. Now, so far, if you ask me, the bodyguards, they killing everybody right now. The bodyguards with the all white, they got it right now, brother. They got it, right? They got it. At the end, I'm gonna give my review, but so far, the bodyguards, they got the hardest fit. The all white fit, oh my God. Shout out to Christophe, man. Christophe was that guy, man. Let's continue. The grand uniform of the Queen's cavalry is a long crimson coat with a sky blue collar, lapels, facings, and lining, yellow braid, gold buttons with the edges of the collar, yellow silk aguilettes, crimson trousers braided with yellow silk, sacco braided with the same, with the plate bearing the Queen's coat of arms, yellow silk cord braids, red plume, and hussar boots. Now take a look up on the screen. As you can see, the Queen's cavalry, right? Long crimson coat with the sky blue lining and piping, the crimson collar, yellow silk aguilettes, yellow silk cord, gold buttons, red plume, etc., etc. Now let's continue. The grand uniform of the prince's cavalry is a long green coat with a pink collar, lapels and facings, yellow braid and lining, gold buttons with the Prince Royal's coat of arms, yellow silk aguilettes, green trousers braided with yellow silk, sacco braided with the same, with the plate bearing the Prince Royal's coat of arms, young silk cord braids, green plume, and hussar boots. Now take a look up on the screen. This is the Prince Royal's cavalry. Now when they talk about the cavalry, this is essentially the mounted escorts, like the bodyguards that's on horseback, right? So when the king or the queen or the Prince Royal, they moving through the city, this is gonna be they escort, the cavalry, the armed cavalry. So this is the uniform of the armed cavalry. That's why we said went from the king's cavalry, then we went to the queen's cavalry. Now we at the Prince Royal's cavalry. Now, as you can see, long green coat, pink collar, pink facings, yellow lining and piping, the gold buttons, the yellow silk, right? Everything green, right? So the Prince Royal, when he's stepping out and you see the armed cavalry with the green, you already know the Prince Royal moving through the city in his carriage. Now let's continue. The grand uniform of the Grenadier de la Garde, known as the Haitian Guards, is a long red coat with velvet lapels, facings, and collar, white lining and piping, red epaulets, white short breeches, white stockings, boots, and sacco edged in red silk braid with the plaque bearing the king's coat of arms, red silk cord braids, and red pom-poms. Now take a look up on the screen. This would have been the uniform of the Grenadier de la Garde, the Haitian Guards, right? As you can see, very similar to the national colors, the red and black. You know, the flag of the kingdom was red and black, right? As you can see, deep crimson coat, red military coat with the white breeches, everything lit, everything lovely, right? Now that red and black, I love that red and black. Now let's continue. The grand uniform of the Chasseurs de la Garde is a long red coat with green lapels, facing, and collar, yellow piping and lining, gold buttons bearing the king's coat of arms, seiko edged in green silk braid with the plaque bearing the king's coat of arms, green silk cord braids, green pom-poms and epaulets are the same, white short breeches and white stockings with boots. Now take a look up on the screen. This is the uniform of the Chasseurs de la Garde, right? As you can see, deep red coat, military coat, dark green lapels and facings. So the red and green with the contrast, with the yellow piping and lining, the gold buttons, the silk cord braids, the white breeches, boots, etc., etc. Now, when it came to Christophe, he had a reputation ever since the revolution. Ever since the revolution, it was common knowledge that when it came to Christophe's troops, Christophe had the best dressed troops of all the generals, right? If you were a soldier in Christophe's military, you already know whether we lose the battle, whether we win the battle, we're gonna be fresh as hell on that battlefield, right? When it came to Christophe, that was very important to him, right? Not only about making sure you have enough weapons, ammunition, and food and supplies and money to embark on the military campaign, but it was very important for Christophe that when we are on the battlefield, we got to be fresh. Our clothes got to be clean and brand new. We got to be on the battlefield while we fighting. We got to be fresh as hell. I mean, Christophe, naturally, that's how he was. I mean, Christophe was a very well-dressed black man, made sure his wife and his kids every single day dressed to the nines, dressed to impress, right? And that also extended to him as a general when it came to outfitting his troops, making sure his troops had the best of everything. When it came to Christophe, his troops always had the best of everything. That was his reputation. There were many European officers, many European, observers at the time that always said that when it came to that Christophe guy, man, his troops, man, he got some well-trained, well-disciplined, well-dressed troops, man. God damn, them boys be on the battlefield fresh as hell, right? So that's how he was. That's how it extended, throughout his life, right? Christophe himself took great pride in his appearance. So obviously, he took extreme pride in the appearance of his troops, his military, his bodyguards, his wife, his children, his government officials, even the common citizen, even the common everyday citizen. Do you know that if you was walking down the street in the kingdom and you was raggedy, you were probably going to be penalized for that? It was against the law to be out in the street looking raggedy in the kingdom, right? If you was in the street looking raggedy, like you was a damn vagrant, you're most likely going to get approached by the authorities and they're going to have a conversation with you. I don't know what they're going to do with you. They're probably going to, put you to work on the citadel, but it was against the law to be in the kingdom looking raggedy. If you were out and about, you had to make sure that you were presentable, you were fresh, everything was A1, right? The kingdom had a certain culture of excellence that unfortunately, after y'all killed Christophe, y'all killed the spirit of excellence right along with him, right? Y'all wanted to kill the king. Y'all still paying the price. Now, anyways, before I get out of here, I want to mention what is my personal favorite out of all these uniforms, right? Now, when it comes to me, there is no competition. I'm sorry to tell you. When it came to the uniform of the royal bodyguards, of the king's bodyguards, man, I'm sorry to tell you. I would have wished to be in this unit right here with the all white, with the gold and the red. Ooh, Nah, the royal bodyguards was killing y'all boys with the swag, bro. The royal bodyguards was killing y'all boys with the fit, man. And I gotta give a shout out to our illustrious foremothers, our beautiful foremothers, our honorable foremothers, because they were the ones that designed all these uniforms. Christophe had the women designing all of our uniforms. Now, of course, Christophe would go out and he would get the cloth and the materials from overseas, but the women, they were the ones that designed the uniforms, that had them fitted, had everything ready to go. If there was a military campaign, our beautiful great grandmothers, they were working, around the clock, making sure we had the uniforms ready to go. Listen, because they know if we gonna die on the battlefield, we're gonna die dressed to impress. We're gonna die fresh to death. When they find our dead body, we're gonna be fresh to death. Long live the king, man. Long live Christophe, man. Yeah. So I might really go back and start resurrecting some of these old articles, man. We might go in deep. Now, when I first started the channel, I had a lot of videos like these, but I want to go back and redo them now, and really, do them justice for real. So yeah, the military uniforms of the Kingdom of Haiti. This article went in deep detail about the Queen of Haiti's birthday celebrations, and this is how all the military men would dress for the festivities. And this is usually how they would dress, when they were out, tending to their duties. So yeah, Shout out to the ancestors for leaving this information behind, because if you leave it up to the adversary, they would have buried it and discarded it and burned it. So anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari. That's a link. Oh, by the way, join that Patreon, man. Join that Patreon. Dropped 4 excellent videos. Got 4 brand new videos on their Patreon. If you go to my YouTube community tab, I'm sure you already seen them, right? Barrett Gold versus Mali. Barrett Gold, the multinational, right? They've been in a dispute with Mali, and now Barrett Gold says Mali has no legal right to take back the gold mine, right? So yeah, Barrett Gold talking nonsense. Go check out that video on their Patreon, right? Also, I spoke about Emmanuel Macron getting slapped by his wife, right? Emmanuel Macron getting slapped by his wife. We had to react to that. The adversary getting slapped by his wife in front of the world. That's crazy. Also, we spoke about failure is not an option for the AES. The AES cannot afford to fail, right? We saw what happened when Libya fell after being destroyed by Western intervention. And in that video, I basically spoke about how if the nations in the Sahel Alliance end up succumbing to the same fate, that same chaos and instability that was in Libya, that came out of Libya, is going to rip across the whole West Africa, even into the more peaceful coastal states as well. So that's why I said the AES cannot afford to fail. And also another video, the illusions of Western democracy. We analyze the credibility of Western democracy and the hypocrisy of the governments who constantly preach about it. So go check out that video. And once you join the Patreon, you gain access to 23 exclusive videos in total that have never been uploaded on the YouTube. Go enjoy, man. It's your boy Neferkari. That's Celine, and I'm gone. Peace.
Told me she loved me and said that it's real. So independent, ain't signing no deal. Feel like a king and I'm up at Cap Henry. I'm in the citadel, top of the hill. Trying to run up but we let off a cannon. Secret location, I'm keeping it sealed. You ain't retaliate, Franco Medina came to the country and he got killed. You ain't retaliate, Rafi and Mans. Thought you was loyal, thought you was real. Didn't even want to come pick up the body. Had your man locked up, he died in the cell. Up at the palace, I'm throwing a party. Right on the south and I'm giving them hell. And my little shorty, she looking exotic. African features, she casting a spell. Run to the check like I work on my fitness. Wake up each morning and handle my business. Said that she love me, she want my genetics. Wanna get married and make it official. Wanna get married and have my babies. Up in the city, I'm riding Mercedes. Up in the city, they treat me like royalty. Feeling like Dolph, talking about lords. Spreading my wings and I had to get fly. Up at the top, an incredible vibe. Came from the bottom, I'm up in the sky. Gave one look and said, baby, you fine. Wake up each morning and handle my business. They just be talking, you see me, I live it. Ride on my enemies, sounding like thunder. 1804, got that shit in my spirit. 1804 when I step in the building. 1804, and that's word of my mother. Rock my women and die for my brother. Never gon' fall when I'm deep under pressure. Tell them we back and they better accept it. Move like a king, every step is divine. Ride on my enemies with no exception. Taking revenge and I'm taking what's mine. Pour up a drink and it's time that we toast. Watching my back, keep my enemies close. Only the family, I stick with my brothers. Cannons position outside of the coast. Heavy artillery for the protection. Move like a general, stick to the code. Feel like a king when I'm up in the north. Beautiful women, they trying to get chose. Launch an invasion all over the south. Capture the capital with all my woes. Look at my energy and my demeanor. Dripping that ice and that's head to my toes. Lately I'm flexing all on the Americans. Flexing my muscle on missing my road. Just got a carriage just coming from London. Boy, that shit cash, I ain't taking no loans. Boy, that shit cash, that's fresh on the boat. Enemy know I got millions in gold. Enemy know I got choppers and cannons. How did I do it? They can't understand it. How did I do it? It's cause I'm relentless. Call me King Henry, my name is cemented. Call me King Henry, I'm up in the palace. Call me King Henry, I'm raising the status.